Good morning, Buffalo. You're listening to the Buffalo Yo podcast. My name is Brian Dudeman. With me, as always, is one of my best friends, my lovely co host, Ari Nicole.
You are too kind, dude, man. I do have a question for you, though. Are you up?
I am definitely up. I am awake. And I'm ready to podcast. Are you up?
I am. I am up and ready for our exciting guest here.
So, for this episode of the Buffalo Yo podcast, would the guest please introduce themselves?
My name is Justin A. Chortie, and I got coffee, so yes, I am up.
Nice. What are your titles? What are your hats? What do you do in the Buffalo film community?
The Buffalo film community, I do audio, I act, I write a little bit here and there. I do more theater usually than film, to be honest. Do improv, theater, act, write, all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
All right. So now we're going to jump into the first segment of the podcast. This is called Fan Mail. So basically, the way Fan Mail works is you guys send your questions. We will read them right here on air. Guest of the week will answer. So without further ado, Ari Nicole, you please ask the first question.
Let's see what I have here. This is via Instagram from Made This Name Up. Do you prefer to perform scripted theater or improv, and why?
Well, it is tough sometimes to remember lines, but I don't know if I have a differentiation between which one I prefer. Sometimes it does help that it's improvised, that you realize if people like what you're saying when it's improvised, then they're liking specifically what you wrote, what you came up with by yourself. Though I do like scripted as well. So both. But I think I like improv just a little bit more. Unless maybe if I did scripted things that were written specifically by me, I mean, maybe then I'd like that more. But yeah, I think improv.
This is the first question I have. This is Bob36 Evans. Who has taught you the most in your career?
Who's taught me the most? Oh, I I feel like anybody who has experience and I just look up to. I mean, I watch you work, dude, man. I watch Ari work sometimes. I definitely watch Bob Bozek work. He's a good guy. I love him.
What have you learned from them? From the people you've watched?
Mm. Well, I watch you do all kinds of fun stuff. When you look at trying to get the right shots and everything, and the way you direct people, it's great. And Ari, the way that you can just perform and act, it's great.
The way that Bob's really good at improv.
And I feel like the two of us have really good chemistry because we can actually. I'm actually one of the few people who's ever made him laugh on stage and break character. We were doing this show in Niagara Falls for Theater in the Mist. It was a Christmas Carol, but it was a Christmas Carol improvised. So what it was is, I believe my colleague Sarah Comfort came up with this idea, and what it is it's basically Mad Libs. So it's like improv where you get like a bunch of suggestions, but they specifically got suggestions for like what's Tiny Tim's ailment, and like what party is Bob having? Bob is in like Scrooge's nephew, so it was all like stuff like that, and then this one specific performance, Scrooge's nephew's Bob's party was a dental party. So it was a bunch of dentists. And this is the party where in the Christmas Carol they have like the 20 questions game where the joke is an animal is Scrooge. But when we were doing the dentist part, I was sitting on a chair that I found and I went to lean back and all of a sudden I just fell and broke the whole chair and Bob started laughing really hard. It was so much fun. Just to get Bob to laugh and Bob to crack, it was an experience.
So this is via Instagram from Balcony Boy 66. Do you prefer to watch scripted theater or improv, and why? Perhaps those two are friends.
Maybe.
I feel like I watch scripted theater more often. It's just easier and more accessible than improvised performances. And I don't know why. Maybe I should go out to see more other people's improv performances than I do right now. Because I do enjoy watching improv. It's just I don't know why I don't go out to see it as often as I should. I feel like it's one of those things where once you do something and then you go see it's something different.
This question comes from Chris, 21, Alconville. What's one childhood memory that you have that sticks with you?
Ooh, okay. So this is something I've been working on for a while, actually, and me and my sister have been trying to do this for years. Hopefully, I can't say for sure, but there is a chance that she might be moving back to this area. And I know you've had Sherry Lynn Lutz on the podcast before. She's a wrestling manager, and my sister is also a wrestler and a wrestling manager, and my brother-in-law is a professional wrestler, though he's mostly retired because he's a little bit not doing very well health-wise right now.
Sending healing energy.
Thank you. And they actually have a couple of podcasts themselves. They have a music one, they have a wrestling one, and they have they also have. He had a political one, but that's not on anymore. He also has a mixed martial arts one. That's the one that they do the most. But we had this when I was like 2 or 3 years old. I mean, what are you doing when you're 2 or 3 years old? You don't know what you're doing, but I was a little 2-year-old sociopath. So my sister's 3 years older than me. I'm 2 years old, and she was 5 years old at the time. And we had these little porcelain Sesame Street banks, right? And I had Oscar the Grouch, and she had Cookie Monster. And so I don't know what came through my head, but all of a sudden it was just this Cookie Monster bank. I just decided to pick it up and smash it over her head, and she got bloody. She got covered in blood, and it was obviously, I was a 2-year-old, so I didn't know what I was doing, but it was a mistake, so... So we've always made the joke that, if, we ever decided to have a wrestling match, we would be Sesame Street Bank on a pole match. So we have these, we go on eBay and purchase the exact same porcelain Sesame Street banks and put them on poles on the opposite side of the ring. And then, whoever wins is the person who smashes it on the other person's head. So as far as childhood memory goes, smashing Cookie Monster bank over my sister's head.
Let's see here. Via Instagram. This is from Odd One in the Cast. What do you like to think about while you brush your teeth at night?
Oh. Well, I mean, you got to think about whatever's going through your head at the time. I mean, what's going to happen tomorrow morning, what you're going to dream about. I mean, when you're brushing your teeth, you got lots of things to think about.
But you only have 2 minutes.
That's true. I mean, usually I like to think of a song, to sing so that, I can make sure that it's exactly 2 minutes. Like we were off screen, we were talking about, very classic TV show from our childhood. Sometimes I like to think, whatever it takes, I know I can make it through. Whatever it takes, I know I can make it through. Classic Degrassi theme song,
Be pretty scary if you couldn't make it through brushing your teeth.
That's true. Mm-hmm.
So this question comes out from William. He is 18 and he lives out in Springville.
Oh.
If you could have a conversation with anybody, alive or dead, any celebrity, who would it be?
Freddie Mercury. I mean, that'd be an interesting conversation to have, just inspiration for some of the classic songs of all time, Bohemian Rhapsody.
This one comes out from Bill, 45, and Dunkirk.
Okay.
And he says, what do you think makes a great production team work?
I think cohesiveness, it's almost like a good improv group, it's like being able to know what the other person's thinking at the same time that they're thinking. 'Cause there is this one improv game that I like that some members in the group don't like. It's called Mind Meld. What it is you go like this and close your eyes and count to 3 and hope that you and the next person come up with the same exact word, and then the next pair does it and they try to think of the word that's in between those 2 words that you just came up with. And I feel like cohesiveness is definitely needed, but sometimes there needs to be someone who thinks differently, thinks outside the box, and might provide some things that are slightly different. Can help out as well.
I would say respect.
That's true.
Like I've been on teams where like I've pitched ideas or I've told them different shot ideas and I've just been shut down, and I almost feel like there isn't a respect there. So those teams are teams I try not to work with again. But I feel like you and me, we have a lot of respect for each other. Like I respect you as an actor and a writer and an audio guy. You respect me as a writer, director, cinematographer. So I think there is a mutual respect there, and that's why I think that we try to like elevate each other every time we work on a project together.
So receptiveness to new ideas.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
This one comes out from Eric, 21, Lancaster. What is something that you trained somebody to do recently?
We do have some new members in our improv group, actually. 'Cause every once in a while, people move or people, end up in other places. So, I mean, sometimes a new person will join and we'll have to explain, give people the ropes and explain not just the basics of improv, but literally the rules to each specific game. And I feel like people are receptive to new things, as long as you get the right person that you want to teach. And as long as they're receptive to your ideas. And sometimes they bring new ideas, that you didn't think of before. And that's really good. For there to be something new,
This one is from Frank, 20, Amherst. How do you get into character?
Oh, I don't know. First I start with, the voice. That's where I usually start, so just pitch a character to me, Pitch a character to me, dude, man. Right now.
Circus guy.
Circus guy.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Circus guy. So he's a guy who works for the circus. I mean, what about...
The ringleader?
Oh, the ringleader. The ringleader of the circus. So, he might be, loud. And I mean, I don't want to blow out anybody's ears if they're putting any headphones on, so I might need to move back a little bit. So, he's the carnival barker. So, he goes like this and he talks longer. He's a wild man. He says, yeah, let's go. And, you kind of, it goes into the face and, then you work on the body movements and then you got the character. I feel like, as long as you can feel what that person's like, you can stay in that character as long as you want. Mm-hmm.
All right, well, that just about does it for this edition of Fan Mail. So please remember, if you want your questions asked, send that to us through our Facebook or our Instagram at Buffalo You Up. I'm Brian Dudeman, my co-host.
Harry Nicole, as always.
And we will be back with more. Listen to the Buffalo You Up podcast. And we're back. You're listening to the Buffalo You Up podcast. My name is Brian Dudeman. Right now, I would like to introduce my lovely co-host, the very lovely Erin Nicole. Are you still up?
Yes, dude, man, I am still up. And you?
I am always up, always ready to podcast. Right now, I'd like to ask my guest, Justin, you still up?
I am up, but I'm out of coffee.
Harry, what is our next segment?
So this next segment we like to call Plug Yourself, where we ask our guest where we can find you. So do you have anything on DVD that we might be able to look up? Do you have anything streaming that we might be able to watch online? Any sort of web pages, Facebook, Instagram? Where in the world is Justin Chortie?
I'm on Facebook. You can find me, Justin A. Chortie, Chortie. I'm also on most of the other social medias. You can find me at some weird social media handle that I have, Rainbow Shade. So that's rain, like the reins of a horse, bow like the bow of a ship, that is, and Shade, like Shawty, like they say in the rap music videos. I'm so excited about everything I have coming out. I did a film for the 48-hour film project this year called The Chain. I did a bit of a voiceover for it, and I was an extra, and I did all the audio, or most of the audio. There was this movie called West End that's coming out soon. I did the audio for. Some guy named Brian Dudeman Zabricki is directing and writing that. And another one called West End Girls, and I play a guy named Ryan, and I also do the audio for that. That's also Brian Dudeman Zabricki. What a great guy. And there's also The Man on the Radio, which should be coming out very soon for a project called How to Survive a Horror Film. And the theme of that is it's a bunch of short films that put together in a YouTube series on basically how to avoid the tropes in a horror movie. And the prompt that we got was never stop for a stranger. So I get to be a creepy clown on the side of the road. And I certainly got to do some things in that film that I've never done before in film. And with the same group I worked on the 48-hour film project with, doing a film called Dog Years, and that's out right now. You can find that on the 4 Points Film Project's Facebook page. We're in Group F, and you can actually still vote for that as of the last day you can vote for that. The last time you can vote for that is December 2nd, 2023 at 2:59 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, so get your votes in. It's only $5 to vote for Group F for Dog Years. You get to hear me do a bunch of voices of stupid dogs. It's really fun. And December 2nd, also, I have a Christmas murder mystery at the Grateful Grill in Silver Springs, New York at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Ooh, and December 23rd, I'm really excited for this one. WNY Improv does shows usually every August with the Buffalo Infringement Festival, and this year we're part of their Festivus fundraiser at Nietzsche's on 248 Allen Street, and we'll be performing from 8:30 p.m. to about 9:30 p.m., so get out there and give your donations to the Buffalo Infringement Festival. They really need it. I do know that there are a lot of shows coming up with WNY Improv. I'm not sure if I'm in all of them or if I'm in some of them, so I'm just going to list them off. I know we have a dinner theater show February 8th from 5 to 7. That's 35 Main Street in Tonawanda. That used to be a senior center, but now it's technically the Tonawanda Center, which they're using as both a senior center and a youth center. March 8th and April 13th, we are doing the Meeting House in Williamsville. We're doing just short form improv, like Whose Line Is It Anyway, or Wild and Out. And that's at 5658 Main Street in Williamsville. Now, this one I know I can't make. March 23rd, WNY Improv's doing a show at the Batavia Country Club. That's sponsored by the Holland Land Museum, and it involves references to local Batavia crimes and history, and also involves references to the eclipse that should be happening around that time. It should be people coming to Buffalo just to see that, you know. It's exciting, isn't it? And the reason I can't make that is because I'm actually in a show in Western Door that weekend. That's March 15th, 16th, 22nd, 23rd at 7:30, 17th to 24th at 2:30. So that's a really good show. It'll be really exciting. It's called Stop Kiss. It's by this playwright. Her name is Diana Son. And actually, the play actually won a GLAAD Award. And it's about relationships, self-discovery, and overcoming adversity. Opening night is March 15th, and fundraising for Niagara Pride. And we do have some special Pride things on the opening day, but those are to be announced later. And that's at Western Door Playhouse, which is at the Niagara Arts and Cultural Center in Niagara Falls. That's 1201 Pine Avenue, Niagara Falls, New York. And we do have one other murder mystery scheduled. That's going to be at the North Tonawanda Senior Center, 110 Goundry Street, North Tonawanda, New York, 14120. And I think I will be directing that one, actually, because, you know, I can actually walk there. North Tonawanda, it's my neck of the woods. And then in the fall of 2024, we do have a show scheduled for the Buffalo, Cattaraugus, and Jamestown Railway, and they're a real good group. I really like them. And we're doing a murder mystery with them. They have shows every few months. And I know in December they do have a Christmas show. They have a Christmas show that's going on, and that's really fun. You should go see that too. I'm not involved in that, but they're a great group. And that's what I got coming up. I'm free for January. Do you want to do anything in January?
All right, and now Justin, we're gonna jump into the next part of the show. This is called A Hero's Journey. So I know that you are a writer. I know that you are an actor. I know that you're a voiceover artist. I know that you do audio. I know that you do improv. I know that you are one of Dude Man's closest best friends. So, Hero's Journey, where'd you get your start?
Well, there's a couple ways to start. I mean, I mentioned the last time I was on the podcast, I was at Memorial Pool and I screamed, pretended to be the witch from Wizard of Oz. But after that, I started watching Whose Line Is It Anyway? So me and a bunch of kids in the neighborhood decided to put on our own production of Whose Line Is It Anyway on the front lawn. And that was my first instance of improv. Then after that, I went to college for theater. I did a couple of plays there. That was fun. And then I kind of fell out of film and theater for maybe like a year or two, 3, 4, 5, or 6 years. And I was working at Walgreens in the photo department, and there was something that came up when I was printing stuff out of like somebody advertising their their voiceover studio. And I didn't end up going with that person, but I looked on their website and I found someone else similar. And from there, it just kind of spitfired. Like I started doing voice acting classes, and I started doing extra work for movies. So the first one I did was Grim Becoming, which is where I met my friend Pamela Morley. She's a great person. And through Pamela Morley, I met some guy named Brian Dude Man Zabricki. Yeah. Yeah. And through films, I met some pretty lady who was pretty awesome named Mary Nicole. She's awesome. And, well, after that, it all just snowballed from there, really. I met Brian Dudeman Zabricki through Pamela Morley, and I started doing films and theater, and through my first theater production with Pamela Morley is where I discovered my friends at WNY Improv, and that's pretty much what I've been doing since 2016 or 17. I've been with ish. Yeah, it's about 2016 that I've been with WNY Improv. It's just been such a good experience.
So, my introduction to you, Justin, was through Pam, and the way that it originally had started was that I auditioned her for the web series, and then she said that she had some clients, so it was you and Cassie. And so I was like, okay, tell me some more about Justin. So what I figured, what she told me was that you are a brony, that you love wrestling, that you love comics. Like, where is this guy? I need to meet him. He loves all the stuff that I love. So whenever I see like a new comic book movie coming out, or whenever I hear wrestling news, or whenever I hear anything with like voice animation or Tara Strong, I'm like, Justin. So that's why I usually reach out to you.
Yeah.
And I met you, and we just became like really close friends.
We did.
And so whenever I have a project where I need an actor or audio or someone to help me co-write something, you're usually the first person I reach out to.
Thanks, dude, man.
Just because I think we work well together. Like I said earlier in the podcast, the respect thing. I think that you respect me and I respect you. I try to listen to your ideas, and I know that you listen to my ideas, and I think our relationship works.
Absolutely.
So I casted you for the web
You
series,
did.
and then after that,
Excuse me.
I
Goodness, my stomach's going off. Pardon me.
casted you for West End Girls. So you play this character named Ryan.
Oh, that was the wildest improv scene I think I've done. That was just a 1-minute monologue that I did like 4 times, and each one was different.
I remember that one. That one I kept laughing each time, which is bad when you're the director. So I literally had to step away, give the camera to either Olivia or Heather. I don't remember who, but they both have had camera experience before. So I wasn't like, I'm just handing it to nobody. But I'm like, I can't be in this room with Justin. I'm just losing my shit. So I gave it to one of them. They filmed that. It turned out well.
Yeah.
It's in post, so
I'm excited to see it.
after West End Girls, the Buffalo 48s that we worked on together.
All those. In the first one, you get to see my hands. I get to be a hand model, just like David Duchovny.
That one was called Flushing Evil. That was filmed at your friend Amy's house.
That's
You
right.
did the co-producer for that because basically everyone that was there was people that you've worked with. So we had Pam, we had Amy, we had your friend who played the priest.
Hmm. Oh, Danny's a good guy. I miss him. He's actually doing comedy out in Chicago. Yeah,
I liked him
he's
a
a good
lot. He was
guy.
fun. Next year after that, we did Getaway. That was with Paul Fanero's team on Broad Tree
Yeah.
Productions.
I did the audio for that. That was fun. Yeah. And I would played the business manager, the office manager. Yeah, that was okay. That was fun. The audio was fun because I got to be like, I got to be in weird places to do the audio. Like there was one scene where it was Paul McGinnis and I was like under the table doing the audio.
The year after that, you did The Chain.
The Chain, yes. Actually, now today, the day we're recording this is actually the day that the soundtrack for The Chain came out. Which I love that song. It's such a good song. I would recommend looking it up on Spotify. It's called The Chain.
The story for that is that Paul gave her like the idea like that night, and I think she gave it to us like 2 hours later. So
Yeah, and she's performing at bars with Courtney, and she's 17. Can you believe that? She's 17 and she came up with a song in less than 24 hours. If only us at our age had half the talent she has, you know?
Or the resources.
That's true.
And then after that, I was busy with the podcast, so I couldn't do it. But I know that you guys did the 4 points, so you did Dog Ears.
Oh my goodness, I had so much fun on Dog Ears. So, Dog Ears for the 4 points, actually. I mean, I did mention it earlier, but you can still vote for it. You know, go to 4 Points Film Project on Facebook. And Group F, vote for Dog Ears. Vote for Dog Ears. so Dog Ears is so much fun. I got to do dog voices. I got to do a live action character. I got to do most of the audio for the whole movie, and it was so much fun. And there was some tension on set. I don't want to spoil anything, but there might be an actor that we mentioned today who is perfectly fine as an actor and perfectly fine as a person, but apparently certain people on set or certain divas on set didn't like him, you know. I mean, I made the mistake of calling her a diva at the beginning of the shoot, and she decided that she didn't like this actor for the rest of the day. And by her, I am mentioning the lead actress as far as the dog goes, Rika. She didn't get along with one of the actors involved in the production, and so we literally had to play musical chairs with the casting. So I was originally supposed to play one character. Courtney was supposed to play one character. Rosanna was supposed to play one character and Mark was supposed to play another, and so we all switched roles. Just because Rika didn't like somebody.
All right, well, that just about does it for this segment. I'm going to take a quick break. I'm Brian Dudeman, my co-host.
Confused. Oh, Ari Nicole, yeah. Both.
And you're listening to the Buffalo Podcast. And we're back. You're listening to the Buffalo Yo Podcast. My name is Brian Dudeman, and with me every episode is my very lovely co-host, Ari Nicole. Ari, you up?
I am Dude Man, and it's so wonderful to be here recording the Buffalo You Up podcast with you. Are you up?
I'm always up, always ready to podcast. Guest.
I'm so up. I'm so up that I'm going to take out the space bar and just be soup. 'Cause so up, soup. Yeah. It's all right. That's a groaner. People at home got it. It's okay.
So this is the part of the show where we ask the guests what they think about being on the podcast. We ask what advice would you give for future guests. And yeah, just how's your experience? Final thoughts, Justin.
Just be open to answer questions, you know. Ari and Dude Man are great. And it's great to be back and see them again. And they'll be able to ask all kinds of nice questions. Just be prepared. Yeah.
Speaking of questions, this is the part of the show now where we ask the guest if they have a question for either Ari or myself. So, Justin, what do you have?
Well, dude, man, with all the turmoil in the world, what's the least favorite concert you've ever been to?
Because usually I always think of like obviously the first
Uh-huh.
favorites and then but least
Yeah.
favorite. Oh, gotcha. All right, Puddle Mud.
Oh, really?
My friends were like, "Hey, we're gonna go see Puddle Mud. Let's go this weekend." And I saw like 3 concerts that weekend. I think it was the weekend of Rob Zombie. It was another night where I saw Mastodon. And the last one was Puddle Mud. And I wrote it on my wall so I don't forget that happened. And it just wasn't that great. It was just, I think because my friends bailed on me that I was just so down that like you make plans with friends but then they flake on you. So that's why I just it sticks my craw. It makes me upset when I think about it.
That is so interesting because you're not actually the first person who's told me that Puddle of Mud was their least favorite concert. What are those chances?
My thought process is perhaps those first 2 concerts were so awesome.
That too.
And so just phenomenal that when you got to Puddle of Mud, they didn't reach that par.
That's
That
true.
level of standards already.
Because when you see Rob Zombie do his theatrics, because if you've ever been to a Rob Zombie show,
It's a show.
oh my god, so good. And it was Alice Cooper too. So, and then Mastodon was super good as well. So, like Ari said, it can live up to the hype. It can live up to the power that was set that weekend.
Now, had you seen those 2 concerts a few months before, maybe you might have appreciated Puddle of Mud a little more. Also, if your friends didn't ditch you as jerks.
Yeah, exactly. So that is what does it for this episode of the Buffalo Podcast. I've been Brian Dudeman, my co-host.
Ari Nicole, confused as always.
And until next time, Buffalo, we just have one question for you. 1, 2, 3.
You up?